Hi, everybody. Okay, cool. Looks like we can hear both the music and my voice. Thank you. Hi, Sesu. Hi, Alex. Oh, you got my voice twice. Oh, okay. That's hilarious. Okay, I was like, hold on a second. I cannot have screwed up audio settings this soon. Hi, how are you, friends? Watching on his phone and it's coming through our Discord call. Oh. Oh, that's funny. So yeah, you guessed it. We are going to tier rank all of the games that I played in 2023. Yep, today. I love how I just forgot what the year was. I'll go through kind of my Steam year and review a little bit and then um explain what my thought process is for ranking things for each tier. But before we get started, how are you? It's been a while. December was like not a huge oh, am I still using captions? I should be. Oh, thank you. Hold on. I think let's see. Oh, yep. Okay. This is just going to take me 1 second cuz I logged out of Twitch. They should be up now, I hope. That's the goal. Okay. Let me know if you can't see them. Okay, they're up. Good. Fantastic. But yeah, it was a busy time this winter. Work had me very busy. I was out like 5 nights a week in the cold dark doing light show stuff. And I was not streaming because I just wasn't gaming at all, period. So it's really been since like Thanksgiving that I've actually like picked up a video game. It has been over a month at this point, which is really weird. Like that's not usual. I guess technically we have started Alan Wake 2. We're doing like couch controller passing, playing Alan Wake 2, which is why it's not going to be on the tier ranking list because I didn't finish it in 2023. I kind of started it and didn't like continue on. Yeah, exactly. But I missed this. This is a lot of fun. So let's check out my Steam year in review. I don't have it up because privacy, but I'm reading it. So this year you played a lot of new games and unlocked quite a few achievements. Here are a few of your highlights. So according to Steam, I played 45 games, 35 of which were new. That's cool. We are not ranking all 45 of those because I think Steam is counting things that I have booted up, and I'm not counting everything that I have just booted. Obviously, I'm only counting things that I've played. And then this is also not including stuff that I played on console. So like Switch, Xbox, a couple other games like that. 487 achievements unlocked. That is nuts. 33 games, 37 rare achievements. I wonder how many of those rare achievements are from DLC, because I've realized a lot of my rare achievements, that's where they come from. So it's 58% played with keyboard and mouse and 42% with controller. That tracks. I mean, if I'm playing on PC, I'm probably playing the games that need to be played on PC. Oh wow, okay. Who wants to guess? What are my top 3 games in terms of, let's just say how much time I spent playing them this year? Can I set up a poll? Or do I need an extension for that? Yes, I can. Okay. What are my top 3 games by play time in 2023? Okay. All right, we will leave that poll up for 1 minute and hopefully this worked well. Hello, sorry for bothering you. Oh. You're gonna get kicked out. I'm sorry, bud. Why can't I? Oh. Because I have to be in mod view. That's what it is. Bye. I was so excited because I was about to be like, sweet, someone new is following me, but they're not. Bye. Okay, so we have a couple dummy answers in here, but I have Valheim, Don't Starve Together, Alan Wake, Baldur's Gate, and Hollow Knight. Just a little bit longer for the poll. I mean, for the two of you, like, you've watched so much, so you know the answers. Last minute. And you were correct on all 3 counts. Don't Starve Together was my #1 played game on Steam with 18% of my playtime this year. Wow. 43 sessions played, 18% of playtime. Baldur's Gate was at a second, 12% of playtime, and 39 sessions played. I really do wonder how much of that was loading screen related. But, I mean, I spent quite a lot of time playing Baldur's Gate 3. Yep. And then Hollow Knight was 10%, 30 sessions played. Yeah, I sat down to play Hollow Knight 30 times last year. Wow. That was, I mean, spoiler alert, we're going to get to tier ranking, but that was my favorite gaming experience of last year, was playing and beating Hollow Knight. How you compare? Stack your year against the rest of the Steam community. Ooh, comparing myself to others. Okay, so I unlocked 487 achievements this year. Was I higher or lower than the Steam median? Let's do another poll. I feel like this is probably not gonna be too hard for you to guess. Was this more or less than the median? I also played 45 games. I'll tell you now that the Steam median was 4. That's surprising to me. I know that I'm kind of a dabbler, but I am surprised that the median is only 4. And my longest streak was 16 days. The Steam median was 5. So there have been 16 days straight where I have booted up a video game of some kind, and the median is 5. You can't see it because, again, privacy stuff, but I am like, it's a bar graph, and the area where I am is like shiny and glittery because it's all the way over to the right ahead of the median. I unlocked more, correct. 487 was a lot more than the Steam median of 16. Okay, new releases. 36% was the percentage of playtime I had in games that were new releases, released in 2023. Wait, why? What? Oh, I had, but 9% of Steam playtime was new releases. So, oh, this is interesting. 8% of my playtime was in games released 8 or more years ago, compared to 38% across Steam. And yeah, closest to the average was 56% was games released in the last 1 to 7 years, compared to 52% across all of Steam. You are what you play. This spider graph shows you the kind of games you spent the most time in 2023. Number 1 was Open World Survival Craft. Completely unsurprising to me. I spent so much time playing Valheim, The Forest, tried to play Sons of the Forest, Don't Starve Together. My second most was Card Battler. I played quite a few good Card Battlers. We'll get into that in the ranking. And then third was City Builder. Actually, third was Metroidvania, fourth was City Builder. Those were very close. Then Relaxing, whatever that means, and Action Roguelike. That's cool. I apparently also gifted 8 games in 2023. That's fun. Let's take a closer look at your top played games. Don't Starve Together. With the help of your friends, you were able to find food and maintain your sanity. I mostly played this in March and April, with a little bit in August and September. So I must have just gone on like a Don't Starve Together bender in March and April, because 91% of the time I spent playing it was those months. Baldur's Gate 3. If you said you spent all that time in Act 1, we'd believe you. Hey, listen. I got barely into Act 2. I only played Baldur's Gate 3 in September, according to this, which makes sense because I kind of had to stop with work and travel and all that. I am going to pick that back up, though. I miss it. Your achievements, 14 unlocked this year. A lot of them are Baldur's Gate ones. Hollow Knight. Silksong can't possibly get here soon enough. Mostly played in February, March, and May. Act 1 has been out for 3 years. Everything else is pretty new. Yeah, fair enough. Although I didn't start really playing in earnest until this year, because I tried playing it in early access and the build was just too unstable for me to do. So many Hollow Knight achievements. Valheim, you use your workbench a whole lot. There's a distribution. That was the fourth, 9% of total playtime. 30 sessions played, March through July with a peak in May. Black Book, spent a lot of time on that. 5% of total playtime, 19 sessions played, October, November. Your playtime by month, geez, September was a big one. That was Baldur's Gate, Sea of Stars, Don't Starve Together, lots of stuff. And then February was also big. February, March was Hollow Knight, Valheim, Don't Starve Together, and other assorted things. So I really peaked in September and then in those like winter, spring months. You played on more than one device. Yes, I know. Windows and Steam Deck. Mostly Windows. So 13 of my games I played on Steam Deck. 84 sessions, 13% of playtime. 29% of games were with controller. My longest daily streak was 16. Oh my goodness. I think I got mostly everything. Yeah, I think I got mostly everything here. Thank you for being a part of the Steam community. Aw, cute. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into the tier rankings. So these are going to be the games that I either played most of, or most of what was available, or finished. I think most of these. I mean, I obviously haven't finished Baldur's Gate, but we're going to go through the games that I have here that I've played. So I have 6 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 36, 37, 38, 39. So I have 39 out of the 45, I guess, games that it says that I played in Steam. That's pretty much everything I've played in Steam. Like I said, the only main game that I have played not on Steam is Alan Wake 2, which I didn't finish. So I started Alan Wake 2 in 2023 and then did not finish it because life happened and I just didn't have time. So we'll go ahead and get into what do these rankings mean to me. This is a totally subjective, unscientific, fun, ridiculous thing, and we'll talk a little bit about the games, what I thought of them, some of my statistics. Let's see. Okay, so beginning with, and I think this is just populated based off of how much, like, alphabetical. Some of it is because I went through it alphabetically, and the rest of it is because that's when I added it in. Oh, wait, we should go through what the tier rankings mean. I mean, S tier is going to be this game, like, changed my life and radically redefined what I think games can be. It's just something that I would play again in a heartbeat. Kind of wish that I would be able to experience it for the first time all over again. A tier is going to be really excellent, exceptional, highly recommendable, enjoyed it so much, but like maybe it didn't completely rock my world. B tier is going to be like, this was a good time, this was a fun hang, it's fun for what it is. C tier is going to be like, meh, I wasn't super impressed by it. And D tier is going to be, why did I waste my time? If you've watched any of the streams from this year, you may have some guesses. Okay, so right out the gate, Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3. Where are you going? So you are a game that I spent, according to Steam, 72.3 hours playing. And I still have only gotten into Act 2. So I feel a little weird about ranking this one because I haven't seen the whole game yet, but I've seen a lot. I have seen stuff that lasts longer than most of the games I tend to play. I wonder where I want to put this because it's between S and A, but if I'm just thinking about where it is right now, probably A, if I'm being honest. The writing in Baldur's Gate 3 is truly exceptional. I enjoy it very much. I do, however, have some issues with uneven characterization of different characters. And some of this is because then I also went and looked it up and I was like, I wonder why this storyline feels kind of underdeveloped. And sometimes it's because this character was added later on in the development. It feels kind of like the game wants you to take a certain pointy-eared vampiric pathway through it, which, hey, I'm all for it. But I'm like, the game, I don't know if it should, like, give me the illusion of choice. Yeah, Will feels crucially underdeveloped. Karlach does too, especially given that she was, like, off somewhere where I could have gotten all the way through Act 1 without even finding her. And because I also know that there is a way in the Grove where you can just completely, like, cordon off entire pathways that affect your gameplay based off of a very simple decision without even, like, fully knowing what you're getting into. Will should have been developed a lot more. I agree. Really? All the way through Act 1 without finding Asterion? That's funny. I would say that, like, if I had to tier rank the characters, that should be another stream. We already know my feelings about Gale. Gale is D tier. The only good thing he did was leave my camp and leave me all my stuff. But yeah, I think we're going to put this in solid A tier. Absolutely incredible game. Fantastic example of the genre. Great installment within the Baldur's Gate series. But I do have some criticisms of it that maybe, like, prevent it from being a completely incredible change in my life. Okay, Black Book. Let's look. Take a look. It's in Black Book. Black Book is a game that I spent 27.1 hours playing, mostly in October and November. So Black Book is a roguelike deck building type game that draws a lot from, like, Russian and Eastern Slavic mythology. So you play as this woman, Vasilisa, who is trying to get her dead husband's soul back out of the underworld, and the way that you wind up doing that is by creating these, like, grimoire spellbook type things that are just a collection of cards. And you have to battle different, like, demons, chorts, other, what are they called? Coldoons, the witches. And the story's pretty great. There are a couple different endings that I know you can get. Hi, Ryan. I'm doing well. How are you? I'm enjoying a snow day and hoping that my power stays on. And tier ranking some games. So Black Book, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. This is a solid A tier for me. I remember playing the prologue when it first came out because this was a game I actually backed on Kickstarter. And it was super fun then, and the rest of the game didn't disappoint. I think that some of the story kind of didn't hang together as well in the late game. So that would maybe be my one criticism of it, and that there are kind of a little bit of information overload in certain aspects of the game. I really like that the game gives you a lot of extra information to read and enjoy, and it does start to pile on a lot at the end when really the pacing of the story should be picking up and not being slowed down by as much exposition. So that would be my main criticism of Black Book. You can give me a little grief about no more RPG snacks, because honestly, I should have mentioned something about this beforehand. So Colin and I both started new jobs last year, jobs that have placed significantly more demands on our time than we had when, you know, our job situation was very different because of the pandemic. So we have not made any new RPG snacks, and honestly, like, I have mostly been working on my own freelance projects and things. We have not forgotten about Six String Games, but I will be needing to make an announcement that, you know, we are putting our more active production of that on pause, because that's not something that we're really able to sustain and commit to at the moment. It's expensive and it's hard, and we got to pay bills. So, Six String Games isn't going anywhere. None of our ideas are going anywhere. But right now, our ability to spend our time on RPG snacks is kind of low. But thank you for bringing that up. And that has reminded me that I need to make a note to let people in the Discord and on the Patreon know, because I'm intending to pause the Patreon for now. No, it hasn't gone to a void. For full transparency, all the Patreon stuff has just been going to helping us do things like vending at conventions and keeping our subscriptions active to our art software and design software that we use. Just do the like back end costs of keeping the business up and running, keeping our business license current. So no, it's not gone to a void, but I do need to make an announcement about like it being dormant for now, just until we get to a point where we can work on that more actively again. Okay, next up is Cozy Grove. Let's see. Cozy Grove. Whoops, nope. I played 7.3 hours of Cozy Grove total. And this game is solid B tier. I'd say it's a low B tier. So this is a game that's kind of a little Animal Crossing play alike, where you are a little kid on an island and you're going around helping the ghosts of these different animals fulfill kind of their last wishes before they die. So think of some of the similar vibes of Spiritfarer, but the gameplay is actually very similar to Animal Crossing. And this was fine. I enjoyed it for a short time. But I don't think that I would necessarily say I super recommend it. You know, it's a fun way to pass the time, but there just wasn't much meat to it. There wasn't much that made me want to pick it up and keep coming back to it. Yeah, I appreciate that with the software thing, and that you like to help out. We really do. And when there comes a time, if like we're talking about what the future of this is gonna look like, and there's something else there, yeah. And it is for profit. It really like it says it's for profit. It's not like making a lot of money. It's not paying bills here, but yeah. So Cozy Grove, B tier. Darkside Detective. This was another game that I streamed. This was a gift from a friend. How long did I spend playing Darkside Detective this year? Three and a half hours. I would say this game is probably also B tier. High B tier to low A. This was a sort of visual novel style point and click adventure game that was really fun. I enjoyed it. The writing was funny and diverting. Now that I look back on it, like, not a ton about the storylines was super memorable, but I enjoyed my time with it while I was playing. Don't Starve Together, you all know what this is. This is survival, horror, crafting. This is an A tier game for me. It's what I spent my most time playing in 2023, so I love that this game has kept updated over the years. I love that it has just stayed with a very active player base and an active community and everything, and I really love this game. I've been playing it since it came out. It's been a long time. It's been with me for like 10 years of my life. I don't know how long the game has been out, but it's definitely been at least 10 years. So I believe this is what the kids call evergreen. Dwarf Romantic. Dwarf Romantic is that puzzle tile-laying type game where you were trying to match up the different edges of the hexagons. Dwarf Romantic actually is kind of special to this channel in particular because it's the game I was playing this time last year when I was talking about my goals and my plans for the future and for this channel and what I wanted to do. And I talked in that video about how I don't really make New Year's resolutions, but I do make like goals, plans, schemes, all that sort of thing. And I had so much fun playing it. Dwarf Romantic is going in the A tier, and the reason why is because it is a game that is very simple in its concept, where you are just tile laying and trying to high score, but where this game really shines is in its attention to the details, the little bits of sound design and the animations that make clicking the right puzzle piece into place just so very satisfying and enjoyable. I have been playing the board game version of this with my husband, and while it is a lot of fun, there is something that you miss out on when you don't have the experience of the great sound design and all of that too. So yeah, A tier for sure. I pick this up again and again. This game I love. It's just been with me for a while now, and I love it. A game that has been chewing up your time is Legends of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel. Oh my gosh, 80 hours in. What kind of game is that? That sounds very like RPG, maybe JRPG? Something like that? Ooh, JRPG. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's see what's next. Dredge. Dredge I played, oh my goodness, so much of it, kind of in a fever dream fugue state type deal. Dredge is one of my favorite games that I played this year. It was delightful. I really, really enjoyed playing it. It's a fishing sim, kind of meets a Cthulhu-esque creepy town story. Very enjoyable. I bought the DLC the second it came out, and I immediately played through the whole thing. Loved it so very much. It is a game that I know I got a lot of my achievements from. I 100%ed the game, and I 100%ed the DLC this winter. I don't know why it says Oh, I know why. It's because the year in review stopped counting in mid-December. Dredge is absolutely A tier, very high A tier. Would definitely recommend it. Will keep playing everything else they come out with. I know that they were anticipating being able to release a really story-intensive DLC update, but then that was delayed, so the DLC update mostly just added like a short quest and some new fish, some new rare fish for you to find. This is the game that like made me like fishing sims. I don't like fishing in games. Fishing is usually my least favorite activity. But Dredge made me actually really like it. Okay, next up is Fossil Corner. Fossil Corner is a very like cute little indie puzzle type game where you are trying to put together basically like a lineage of different fossils and how they have evolved over time. I'm actually going to put this in C tier, mostly because while the puzzles were fun, the rest of the game is just very bare bones. Like there are some cosmetics types things you can unlock to decorate your space, your room around you, but it just never really felt like there was more to it than the puzzles, and at that point maybe I would have just rather had the puzzles and not the other stuff, feeling like it wasn't as well implemented. So I'd recommend it if you like puzzles, if you're like me and you're just looking for like a fun little puzzle gamey type thing. But yeah. Legend of Heroes is over 10 games long. Oh my gosh. Well, you're gonna like this because I have decided that this year is the year that I actually finally beat Dark Souls. I have played Dark Souls before, but I haven't beaten it. I don't think I've ever rolled credits on a Souls game, even though I've spent a fair amount of time playing them and I really like them. And this year is the year that I'm going to try hard and do it. So we'll see if I have time to do some of that today, but if not, after this tier ranking, that'll probably be my next stream. Hollow Knight. Oh my god, y'all know where this is going. Hollow Knight's going in the S tier. I can't say enough good things about this game. Hand-drawn, animated beautifully, sound design. The platforming is impeccable. This game is one of those like games that makes you realize you can do hard things, because I definitely was not skilled enough to play it with ease, and I have tried to play this game so many times and I have bounced off of it so many times, but the thing is, I just really wanted to get it. I wanted it to click, and this was the year that I started it, and I did it on stream because I was like, I want this like accountability, and I want to feel this sense of community doing it, and the community for Hollow Knight is just fantastic. I mean, like that's taken up a lot of my time outside of streams as well. Everything about it's perfect. Everything. The music. I mean, the only thing is that, like, yes, I know I've joined the chorus of people clamoring for Silksong to come out, but I don't mind it being delayed as long as they take their time and get it just where they want it. Because if it's anything like the original, if it's anything like Hollow Knight at all, it's going to be incredible. And I think it's going to be even better. You know you'd rage quit a Souls game. Yeah, they're frustrating by design. For me, I think I've realized, and this is something that I think I've talked about before, that especially with Hollow Knight and other Souls games, but I've talked about it in the Hollow Knight streams, is that it reminds me a lot of learning how to play an instrument or learning how to play a specific song on an instrument. It's hard. You know, people, I don't think, give enough credit for how difficult and how much guts and persistence it takes to learn how to do something like that. It's difficult. It's not easy. But the thing is, it's that way for everybody. The difference between people that learn it and don't, or people that get good at playing a particular song and don't, is that they just keep trying. And Hollow Knight is just like that. It's so rewarding. It's so rewarding if you stick with it. Won't live up to the original, feel too much like the same game. I get that. I don't think it will. I think they're probably working on new mechanics and they're gonna do some interesting things with the platforming. It's entirely possible that I'm wrong, but I think that that's probably part of why it's taking so long, is they want to get that perfect. I feel very similarly about Hades 2. Did I not? I guess I didn't play Hades this year. Hades was 2 years ago already. Even if it felt like the same game, I'd probably be okay with that. Yeah, even if some of the core mechanics are the same, which I really think they will be in some ways, because it's still going to be platforming. The challenges are going to be different, and the abilities, I think even just having different starting abilities are going to be what makes this game super interesting. And I mean, there's so much to love about it too, like the world design. I just want to immerse myself even more in this world. We're going to get more lore too. The drip feed of lore. Hollow Knight also has changed a lot of the way that I think about writing for game design, and it has made me want to write for video games. It has made me be like, I could do this. I could come up with a way to make a world come to life with a few sentences, and I think that that would be a lot of fun. I was lucky I got to do that working on Fever Nights this year. Oh, now I can actually mention it because it's on Kickstarter. Let me put a link in the chat for this. But Zweihander, the game that I have been freelancing on since it all began, is getting a new edition. We have a new publisher and we're getting a new edition, and I'm writing a bunch of stuff for it. So we are, whoops. Here we go, Zweihander Reforged Edition. I'm gonna put this in here. Please save this if you are interested at all in it, and also even if you're not. We have a new publisher, so like getting them aware that we have a very viable project here is super important, especially because it means I get to keep doing this stuff, which I really, really love. So yeah, speaking of what Hollow Knight has taught me about writing, it's something that I am now implementing quite a lot of into my own work. Inkullanati. This is going to be our first D tier game. I'm sorry. I really wanted to like this. This is a turn-based fighting game, medieval strategy game of little like animated medieval manuscript marginal drawings. And they're fighting each other, and it's just not good. I really wanted to like this game, but the balance is really off. The gameplay is very monotonous and repetitive, and you really just feel like there's almost no skill that goes into selecting what you're trying to work with. I really wanted to like this a lot more than I did, but I bounced off it pretty hard. And I played it for a decent amount too. So yeah, that's too bad. Islanders. Islanders was a little minimal city builder that I have really enjoyed. I'm gonna put this in B tier, mostly because while it is a lot of fun to play, it doesn't have quite the degree of satisfaction that I get from something like a Dwarf Romantic, but it is a game that I've come to a lot, and it's nice when you want to play a city builder that doesn't have like conflict or people dying or anything like that. It's really mostly a tile laying game about placing the buildings in different terrains and environments and scoring your points from there. And that's it. And it's fun. It's a really good time. But we want to talk about something with satisfying puzzle and sound design. Oh my goodness. Mini Metro and Mini Motorways are both A tier for me. Mini Motorways is the sequel to Mini Metro. The idea of both of these is that you were designing some kind of like infrastructure, basically. With the Metro, it's a subway system in different places around the world. With the motorways, it's roads. And you get a couple different little pieces to it. You get different either color lines or train cars and stations in Mini Metro. And in Mini Motorways, you get traffic lights and roundabouts and highways and all this sort of thing. They're both so good. I love the sound design on these games. Have I played Afterimage? No, I don't know what that is actually. That sounds interesting though. Similar to Hollow Knight. Let me look this up. This looks interesting. Oh, that's interesting. I've seen this before. I'm pretty sure I've been recommended it because I've spent a lot of time playing Hollow Knight. We are going to be playing a few difficult Metroidvanias throughout the year on this channel. So my next big one I want to play is Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Night, I think? Knights. We're going to play Blasphemous, and we are going to play... What was the other one? Oh my goodness. We're going to play Ender Lilies, Blasphemous. We're going to play Celeste. This is going to be the year that we're playing Celeste. Moonlight and Garland. So I have played through all of this game in early access. I feel kind of weird ranking this, but I think as it stands right now, it's going to go in C tier. This is meant to be a kind of, you move to a new city and have to fix it up and meet all the different people, and it's a very cute like life sim about living in a city. My issue with it is that right now the build is janky AF. It's a really small team. It's a very indie team, so I don't want to like ding it too hard, but right now it's in really rough shape. Yes, it is like Stardew, but in the city, which is a premise that really, really intrigues me because we usually get this idyllic pastoral farm setting. But in this, we get the city. And I like the concept of it, but the execution leaves so much to be desired. So I don't want to like ding it too hard because, again, it's not the full release, but playing it in early access right now, it's in the C tier for me. Celeste, do not take a drink every time your character dies. Oh god, no. Absolutely not. I know I'm gonna die a lot in that game, but that's part of it. That's another one of those you can do hard things games. Okay, Nancy Drew, Shadow at the Water's Edge. Maybe this is gonna put me in bad fan jail, but this is a D tier game for me. This is the worst video game I have ever played to completion, and I kind of wish I could get that time in my life back. But I can't. I know all y'all were here while I was playing that, but this game just made no sense at all. The puzzles that you were supposed to do to solve the case really just felt so much like random busy work. They weren't actually like fun, interesting, meaningful. The plot made no sense. I mean, this game was not good. This game was not good. And I know that I'm very much in the minority when it comes to that opinion because this is a lot of people's favorite Nancy Drew game, but I just did not get on with this at all. Orwell, Ignorance is Strength is gonna go in C tier, I think. This really tried to be a good sequel to the original Orwell, which is you're kind of a government employee that's being nosy and like spying on people and reporting on them to your government, but the gameplay is identical and the story isn't as good as the first one. So if you're interested in playing like creepy government surveillance simulator, I mean, don't even play Orwell, just go play Papers, Please or Beholder. Those are both massively superior games. Beholder is really good. I might actually try and replay that at some point on the stream. Because I do like replaying games, especially, I think it's been close to a decade since I played Beholder last. Wow. Yeah, it's been like 7 years, so maybe I can do that again. Fighting with a project team that thinks you can do 800 hours of work by March. Oh dear. Whew. Yeah, that's just not realistic. So yeah, don't play this. Play something else that's better. Pentiment S tier, without question. Even with this game's flaws, it's just an absolute paragon of what games and storytelling and interactive fictions can be. This is the one where you are Andreas Mahler, who is the scribe and artist that's trying to make your own book. And this is a story about memory and the way that we tell stories and selectively remember things in history, our own personal histories, the history of our towns, cities, where we live. Absolutely stunning art style. You can clearly tell that this is such a labor of love. Like the team that worked on this really, really cared about the time period and the subject matter and telling a good story. And I did figure out like part of the whodunit by the end because it is a mystery, but it is really more like a walking sim adventure game than like the Nancy Drew point and click mysteries. Like there's not really puzzles that you have to solve, or at least there are a couple puzzles, but they're trivial, you know. It's like put these 8 jigsaw puzzle pieces things back together to get some more dialogue. But I loved Pentiment. I loved it. I listened to the soundtrack. Like that's another marker of whether a game is good, is whether I listen to the soundtrack outside of playing it. And both Hollow Knight and Pentiment I do. I return to those a lot. Play it, go watch my VODs. All my VODs are up on YouTube, and I have a full-on playlist of all of the Pentiment streams, so if that's something you're interested in, you can find it on YouTube, and I think there's a link somewhere down below. Yes, right underneath my like stream title and everything is a link to the YouTube channel. God, now I just want to go replay Pentiment. This is the other mark of a really good book, well, good book, but also good game, is when you have to start going out and telling literally everyone you know who cares about these things, just play this game. Don't walk, run, just play it. It's amazing. You'll love it. You will not come away from Pentiment having had a just okay lukewarm experience. Okay, without further ado, Potion Craft. This is a game I've been playing since early access, and I have to be honest, it's B tier because it really hasn't changed significantly to improve my experience since early access. It's added a few other things. Nominally, there's a story, but this is mostly like a fun, very light puzzle game that's relaxing, like repetitive motions as you are brewing potions and trying to sell them to different villagers coming through your shop. There are different people that you can sell potions to. There's kind of a little haggling mini game, but it doesn't really matter. Same thing with like the game dings you and gives you like devil points. I don't know what they're called, but it's symbolized by a little devil if you sell like poison to someone that's clearly gonna use it to murder someone. But again, it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, this is just about getting more money so that you can buy better ingredients so that you can eventually build an alchemy engine downstairs and make the Philosopher's Stone. And I'm kind of at the point where like I haven't gotten to the end of the game, but I don't really care to. I feel like I got what I wanted out of it. It was fun while I was playing it, but I have no real desire to pick it up again. So, fun, relaxing, not as good as Dorfromantic, Mini Motorways, etc. Power Wash Simulator. This is A tier. This is another one of those games where like the A tier is in the details, the tiny little dings that you get from cleaning things. The fact that this is a game that like makes no sense why I should be as into it as I am, but it is just so satisfying to do that like methodical little cleaning thing in a way that it can be satisfying to clean things in real life, but like who gets to power wash a Mars rover in real life? Not me. I mean, I feel like there's such a short list of people who get to do something like that. Sea of Stars gets the designation as a game that made me cry. I mean, like big old sobbing tears. This is S tier. Fantastic example of a turn-based RPG with A+ writing, just incredible characterization. This is a game that makes you really care about the characters. You're very invested in their successes and failures. It leans on some familiar like tropes and shorthands that you get from JRPGs or big RPGs like this, but it just revitalizes them and reinvents them in such a new way. And I loved the environment design and the level design and the monster design. I loved so much about this game. My only critique is that in the early parts of it, the fighting can be very grindy and repetitive, but as soon as you get out of some of that like grindy early game area stuff, it's just a lot more fun because the different monsters and different things that you have to battle all have different strengths and weaknesses. So that makes it really fun, like an interesting challenge to figure out how to deal with all of them. And like I said, like it takes so much for a game or a book or something like that to make me cry. It takes a lot. And this made me cry. Like, oh my god, so good. So good. No hesitation for S tier. I'm very much looking forward to the DLC. Yeah, again, listen to this soundtrack outside of playing the game. It's so good. Alrighty, Slay the Princess, also S tier. One of the best narrative games. I mean, what a year for narrative games. What a year for narrative games. All of these, even Hollow Knight, what they all have in common, well, one of the things that they all have in common is that they're absolutely exceptional, exceptionally well written. Slay the Princess is like a visual novel style game where you are tasked with slaying a princess, and if you don't, it will be the end of the world, and the game just starts, and it takes turns, and you think you're getting into one thing, and then the game very clearly, like very quickly subverts your expectations, and you just get absolutely blown away. I want to play this again on stream. I played it off stream first because I knew it was going to be like a very reading intensive game, and a lot of it is, like, most of it is fully voiced. Your player character, protagonist character is not, but everything else is. It's amazing to me how with such like simple black and white little animatic style drawings you can have such an effective story. And this made me very emotional. It didn't make me cry in the way that Sea of Stars did, but it really took my breath away. For a game that you can play through in about 4 hours, I would say this packs a similar emotional punch to something like Disco Elysium. It really makes you reconsider what kind of storytelling games are capable of. Yeah, you do. You really do have to play it. Don't watch it. Just experience it. Go in completely cold. Don't know anything about it. I'm purposefully not going into detail about it because it is one of those games that you just have to experience. I think it's best to go in not knowing a ton. Look at this. Good year for games. Great year for games for me. Stacklands. Again, fun, minimalist, kind of city builder, adventure-y type game where you just make a bunch of stuff happen by stacking cards. I'm going to put this in B tier. I had a lot of fun playing this game, but I honestly haven't had too much of an urge to pick it up again. It was pleasant and diverting, but I don't think that I'm going to spend too much more time with it. I feel like I got what I wanted out of it. I'm going to do SteamWorld Dig first. SteamWorld Dig is an A tier game for me. It was a game that held up very well upon replay. Super satisfying Metroidvania. Wasn't too terribly difficult. I remember when I played it for the first time, I was really new to that type of game, and so I think I found it much more of a challenge than I did the second time around. But considering that I've now finished Hollow Knight, I'm like, I'm capable of fighting God. So SteamWorld Dig was really fun and enjoyable. Same thing with SteamWorld Dig 2. I mean, it's a direct sequel. They're both A tier for me. SteamWorld Dig 2 picks up where the story of the first SteamWorld Dig leaves off, and I'm enamored with this whole franchise, all of the SteamWorld games. SteamWorld Heist is fun. Definitely want to be playing some, what is it called? SteamWorld Build? Yeah, exactly, when it comes out. So very fun Metroidvanias. I wouldn't necessarily call them particularly like challenging or innovative, but they are a lot of fun. They're very well designed, well tuned, funny writing. I gotta finish SteamWorld Dig 2. I've played most of it, but I haven't rolled credits yet, so should probably get on that. Subnautica Below Zero. This is C tier. This is a sequel that like didn't really need to happen because it's pretty much exactly the same as the first game, except cold. Right? So like you are stranded on this ocean planet trying to find your lost sister, I think, who is the protagonist of the first game. It's exactly the same game. The story is not interesting enough for that to be like compelling alone, and the crafting is just so repetitive, and I didn't have too much fun playing this, you know? I realized that I was more playing it out of a sense of like obligation, that I felt like I should be continuing with it, and that's not a good reason to play a game, especially if you have to just do it for fun. I mean, like, I'm not a games journalist. It's not like I have to finish playing games for work. I'm a person that does this as a hobby. So there we are. C tier. Sudocats is Sudoku with cats. It's B tier, it's fun, it's cute, it's a diverting puzzle game. This is the kind of thing that I kind of wish I would have gotten on mobile instead of on Steam, just because it's a Sudoku game. It's more fun to have in your back pocket, I think. Look at this B tier. Second row of B tier. Time on Frog Island. I think this is also C because I started playing this and you're a shipwrecked person going around trying to help frogs find missing objects, and it just did not hold my interest. I feel like this is maybe a better game if you were a young person and you're new to video games, but this was just a little too simple for my taste, and I don't think I'm gonna take any time to finish it. I don't know why Townscaper is on this list, because I never actually played it. Oh wait, I did. Sorry, this is a D for me. It's literally just like drawing. I thought it was gonna be a city builder, but it's just full-on sandbox putting houses in places. Not super interested. Oof. Yeah, the Divergent series. I rage read that book because I was like, I'm going to see this through to the end. I liked the first one. The second one, I was like, eh. And then by the time I read the third one, I was just so done with it. But I rage read it because I didn't want to give the author, or, you know, myself, I guess, the satisfaction of ducking out. Oh well. 2 Point Campus is another one where we are going to file this under, this is a sequel that didn't need to be made. I'm going to give it B tier because it's still more fun to play than some of these other sequels that didn't need to be made. But it's exactly the same game as 2 Point Hospital. It's just on a college campus instead. And it's not as fun because I think some of the hospital humor is what makes 2 Point Hospital super funny, but it just doesn't translate as well to the university setting. So, kind of just finished with that game. I know there's been a lot more DLCs and updates and stuff that have come out, but yeah, that's just, I'm done. I got what I wanted from it. You were so happy when you were done reading the book, and the happiness has nothing to do with the story. That's how you know a book's bad. That's how you know. Valheim. I played so much Valheim this year. It felt like this was a game that I mostly played with my friend Colin. It's survival, crafting, open world. You're these like dead Vikings, I guess. I think I'm actually going to put this B tier because it's not in the same league with stuff like Don't Starve Together, but I do play it a lot. So this is probably like a high B tier for me, is Valheim. The one thing that frustrates me a lot about this is that it is possible to die and lose all of your stuff and be like completely screwed with no hope of ever getting those things back. And there's no real way to adjust for that. I do like the customization that you have in Don't Starve Together if you want to have like a less punishing survival experience. There are some other options for how to do your respawning and where you can, you know, fast travel to go collect your belongings from your corpse. Valheim just doesn't have that, and I think that those features would actually enhance my enjoyment of the game. Yeah, I haven't tried it when it was in the right mindset, and you really do need to be in a mindset for it. Valheim turns into a game, too, that is very much like, okay, I've chopped down a lot of trees. Like, so many trees. Am I just playing a video game that's doing chores? Virtual Cottage is an interesting one. It's not really a game, but it's on Steam, so I'm including it in this, and it's really more of a productivity timer tool. Honestly, I think this is going to go in C because it's a timer. It's not super customizable. It gets the job done, but the main reason why it's in C and not any higher is just that the music selection for it is so limited, even years from its release. So it's, I don't know, less exciting to me. Even though I've spent a lot of time with it, I would rather listen to some different music. Ooh, recommend me a new one, still in demo. Yes, please. I am interested. Another one that's going to go in C tier is Wind Peaks. This was kind of a hidden objects game that I started playing, and then I was like, why am I doing this? I think maybe I've realized that hidden objects and things like that just don't really excite me too much as video games unless they have something else weird and wild and wacky going on. And this was just that. Witchy Life Story is another D tier game. This was a visual novel type game about being a witch that moves to a town and is making potions, and it was just boring, and like the visual novel parts of it I didn't find to be particularly well written or engaging, and I bounced off of it pretty quickly. Spirit City Lo-Fi Sessions. Let's look that up. Spirit City Lo-Fi Sessions video game. Cool. Thank you. I will get that demo downloaded. Word Factory. You know, as far as puzzle games go, I really did enjoy this. This is pretty clever. I haven't played as much of it as I would like to yet, but this is a solid B tier for me so far. As far as puzzle games go, it's very well tuned, it's interesting, the puzzles are challenging, they're solvable, but hard enough that you have to work for it, and I appreciate that. It's hard to get that difficulty right, and I really like word puzzles, so that's kind of a natural favorite. Alan Wake. Oh my god, this game that I thought was going to be spooky and scary and turned out to just be incredibly goofy and silly, but also somehow a meditation on writing. This game really swung for the fences, and I respect that about it. It didn't always succeed, but it was very ambitious, and it tried very, very hard. I will also say that the movement is very well tuned. And while I know one of the critiques of Alan Wake is just that it can be a little too easy to play through, I found it worked out well for me because it just kind of let me focus more on the narrative and less on the survival horror aspect of it. I can tell you already that I'm ranking this A tier. I know Alan Wake 2 is gonna even blow that expectation out of the water. Vampire Survivors is also going to go in A tier simply because this game shouldn't be as good as it is, but it is. It's kind of an auto battle-y type thing where you just move a character around on a map and attack bad things, and then they turn into gems that are power-ups that let you buy new things. And that's the whole game. It shouldn't be as addictive as it is, but it's in the like numbers go up, flashing lights good school of enjoying video games. Maybe this should be B tier, but the fact that I keep re-downloading it and returning to it and playing it, even though it's like barely even a game, it's just so well designed. Whoop. Oh, I received a gift. Thank you, friend. Oh, I appreciate that. So we'll have to play After Image on stream. Thank you. That's very kind. I have quite a few games that I was gifted over the holiday season that I want to get into now that I'm back. Let's see. Three more games. Slay the Spire. I think this has to go S tier. This is probably the best like card battle-y, deck builder-y game I have ever played. I enjoy the crap out of it. I still play it a lot, and I am very excited to try out Downfall, which is the fan-made expansion mod that adds all new stuff. That's going to be the last S tier game though, because Squeaky Game and Storyteller. Squeaky Game is like way better than it should be as a game. It's a B. It's very addictive. You just drop fruit down and the tiny fruits combine to make bigger fruits, which combine to give you more points. It was a lot of fun. I played a lot of this when I was traveling over the Thanksgiving holidays. Same thing with Storyteller, which is also going to go in the B tier. It's a really clever little game that's got some logic puzzles where you're trying to move around different elements of a story. to make them make logical sense. Make them make a story. That doesn't like mean anything properly when I say it like that. So those were all of those games that I played. Look at that. Given the size of my S, A, and B compared to C and D tiers, I'd say that what we can gather from this is that I'm pretty good at knowing my own tastes and picking the kind of games I'm gonna like. A lot of the games I play are pretty good. And then it is hard to get an S tier game. I'd say, what is this, like about 10% of the games that I played are S tier games, so it's not impossible, but it's hard. And that feels about right. That feels like that should be as difficult as it is. Now I just want to go play Hollow Knight. I still have more content in that game that I need to see. So we'll revisit that at some point this year. But this year is going to be the year that I beat Dark Souls. I'll be streaming that. It's going to be the year that I play more of Metroidvanias because I know I can and because I know I'm good at them. Or at least that I have the skills and persistence it takes to get good at them. I'm going to try and continue streaming once a week. Some of that might be on Game for Access, but definitely here. I'm going to be streaming a lot here. Oh yeah, another thing that I wanted to mention is that I think this year is going to be the year that I begin playing through all of the Resident Evil games, starting back with Resident Evil 1, which I've never played. I've never played any Resident Evil games, and I want to. I know that's a big thing that I'm missing. Excuse me, I feel like I'm missing out on. And I would like to change that. So I think that's gonna do it for the stream today. Resident Evil 1. I am gonna play 0 at some point, but I'm starting with 1. Thanks everybody for coming by to watch. This was fun. I hope that maybe this has inspired you to tier rank the games that you have played this year, or just think about them in a fun and enjoyable way. Let's see. Looks like IntelliGame's still alive and they're playing some Celeste. So why don't we go say hi to our friend Josh. And I will be back maybe a little bit later this week, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow morning, so maybe after that's over. Anyway, thank you all so much for coming by to watch this, and I will see you next time. Have a great rest of your day.